had a girl instead, he first said, "A girl?" And then he decided, okay, I'm just going to teach her about the sport. And so many of my fondest memories with my father really revolve around football. From the very first game that I can remember watching, way back in 1958, a championship game that went into overtime, that was my first real memory of watching football with my dad. But it went on and on. This is the 50th Super Bowl. I have watched every single one of them. And I watched them first with my father, and then after my father's death, I continued to watch them. And I went so far as to, as Secretary of State, I was in Israel during a Super Bowl, and I was not going to break my string. So I got up at 1 o'clock in the morning in Israel, in the David Citadel Hotel, and I watched the Super Bowl. I say I'm fortunate now to serve on the College Football Playoff Committee, which is really one of the greatest gigs I've ever had. And even though my father has gone to the Lord, I suspect he's up there saying, "She finally got a really important job." Sports has been a big part of my life, not just as a spectator in football, but as a competitive athlete. My father and my mother, even though my mother wasn't much given to sports, was music with my mother and piano. My father in particular encouraged me to find a sport and to try and play it well. I think he understood what that can mean to the development of the whole person. Unfortunately, the sport that I chose was figure skating. Now, why do I say unfortunately? Well, you saw me walk up here. I'm 5'8". I've got 5'10" legs. It was not the right sport. Nonetheless, I loved it. And figure skating in those years on the ice, roughly from the time that I was 6 years old, when my family would go to Denver every summer, and I decided that skating looked good to me, and my parents needed a place for high-priced childcare where they went to summer school, and so I started skating at 6. We would go back to Alabama every winter. There were no rinks. I'd come back, and then finally we moved to Denver, and I competed from roughly the age of 12 until at 18 I decided that my career was going nowhere and that it was also not an adult sport. Nonetheless, it taught me so much, and I'm so grateful for what figure skating taught me and what competing taught me. And I suspect that each and every one of you in this room has similar stories about what it's meant to your life. Very often when I am in the public, I actually do think back on all that I learned as a competitive athlete. First and foremost, every competitive athlete has passion for their sport. You can't work that hard if you're not passionate about it. And passion is a wonderful thing in life. It's part of what makes you want to get up in the morning and go and do that. And for me, that meant getting up in the morning at 5 o'clock in Denver, Colorado, and going to the ice rink and skating for a couple of hours before school, and then going to school and coming home and doing homework and going back to the rink. You have to be passionate. And you carry that passion into other things in your life, and you keep searching for things about which you're passionate. Passion means also that you will look for and seek excellence. And throughout your life, if you can combine passion and a quest for excellence, you are going to succeed. Now, we also know that passion and seeking excellence means something else. That's something else you learn from sports. It means that you're going to have to learn to do things that are sometimes hard for you. You can't go through sports simply doing the things that you do well. You have to work on your weaknesses. You have to play to your strengths. But as the great Annika Sorensen would tell us, if you're really great driving the ball, you'd better learn to putt too. And so, for those of us who played sports, learning to work on your weaknesses as well as playing to your strengths is just a sort of natural thing. Too many people go through life just doing what's easy for them, just doing what they're comfortable doing. In sports, if you're going to be successful, you can't do that. I think it teaches an important lesson, overcoming it.